Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
All right, last thing. Well, second to last thing. Moorish merch, new merch. We finally got in the Moorish American enamel pen. This is dope. Yeah. And there are two versions. One has a, a safety pin back, like if you want to wear it on your turban, because you do not want to wear the other one, which is a butterfly clip back. You don't want that on you probably don't want to put that on your head, because if you smack yourself and this thing is like that, not a good idea, which is why I went ahead and like, well, I guess I got to order 2 batches to make sure, for safety's sake. So that's available on, you can order it through our shop on here on Instagram, and it's also available at califamedia.com/storefront. All right, here we go. All right. Islamism. I am Sister Tahita S. Najil I.L. Let me start over. Islamism. We are here for 30 minutes, more or less. I am Sister Tahita S. Najil I.L. of califamedia.com, mercycharities.org and com, riseofthemoors.org and com, and certifiedmoorish.org and com. Please visit all of those sites to find everything Moorish, because Moors are on the move. We're trending, right? Everybody want to be black. So while the wheat is separating from the chaff, right? Moors, you know how that is. Wheat from the chaff. So those who still want to be black and are fighting for that designation with a bunch of foreigners who trying to claim them all of a sudden out of nowhere for some strange reason. I'll get into that in a minute. The rest of us are going to make the smart move and be that portion that won't go into the fire, that kind of thing. Just because, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. So as long as you got some knowledge, you should be straight. Anyway, this is my Friday roundup. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, and I'm recording later for YouTube. Maybe one day when I can move and get a better internet connection, I can do YouTube live. So I came on today to share the news, or basically finish up from last week, because I had planned on talking about some other stuff. And please excuse me if I sound stopped up. I am stopped up. But I had planned on speaking on some other things, but got sidetracked by baby formula, right? And its relation to Moorish captivity and the decline in American ingenuity, right? There's videos all over the place where you can find that. So anyway, this week I'm going to finish what I started last week and discuss vine and fig tree. And by vine and fig tree, I'm referring to nations and birthrights. Vines, fig trees, nations, and birthrights. How I see like modern correlations to things like Jews, Gentiles, Moors, Muslims, vines and fig trees, and nationality and birthright. Okay, because there's nationality, yes, and then there's your birthright. That's something else. Okay, so anyway, last week I covered Democrats on the run, how see, this is how civil wars start right here. I think last time it was because of something. It was something going on with double voting, and it involved Missouri, and the federal government got involved with state matters, and that kind of trickled and snowballed into what became the Civil War. And we're seeing it again. And I study astrology under tangent. If you do your research into astrology, you'll find that there was like, oh, look, this war started when this planet was there. Oh, look, the next war started, major war. Because, the United States is never at peace. So the major wars, this major war started when this planet was there. And this other major war, I'll just say them. So the Civil War started when Uranus was in Gemini. And then, what was it? I think World War I started when Saturn wasn't, I want to say Saturn was in Aries, but Uranus might have been in Gemini. No, it couldn't have been. I want to say Saturn was in Aries. And then, of course, the Revolutionary War, Pluto was in Aquarius. So we got all this stuff going on with the government all of a sudden. So the big three, because I know, World War I was big, but World War II was way bigger because it involved nuclear weapons. All right. And not just the powers of Europe. All right. So that was actually a world war. So it's kind of funny that we got all this stuff, all these difficulties where the states are trying to assert their rights and the feds are trying to trample the said rights. And we got all this foreign stuff going on under the same sky. Last time these planetary alignments occurred, once here, once here, once here. Now they're occurring at the same time right now. So my thing is, there's always survivors. And in my opinion, only one group deserves to survive because only one group ain't been contributing to this mess, except by not claiming who they are. Right? We really are a pure, clean nation. How many wars have so-called black people started? How many lands have so-called black people invaded? How many sanctions have so-called black people placed on people? Pure, clean nation. We're not black. Where do black people come from? Nowhere. Where do Moors come from? Morocco, Mauritius, Mauritania. Drop the H. Drop the A. America or Morocco. That's the real name of it. Anyway, so yeah. So I got it. So we're under that same sky where the states and the feds are butting heads. Right? This was probably going to be really bad because look how bad the other three were individually. And this is supposed to be like the final act type of thing. And I was going into how Trump has ordered his minions in Texas to snatch up 5 more congressional seats to make sure, because he thinks that's going to actually work, which is so nuts to me. That way, I know because all this garbage I've been pulling, I know we about to lose the midterms next year in 2026. But to make sure I can keep bossing everybody around and we had a majority, I need y'all to cheat. Republicans are always cheating. You got to wonder about the person who got to keep moving the goalposts. Why you got to cheat? Because you know you'll lose otherwise. So he said, well, I won Texas so I can do this. They like, nah, you got to wait till the census every 10 years. And this is 2025. That's not till 2030. Then we'll count everybody and then we can decide who gets what seats. You know what? That's not going to work for me, says Trump. Move it up 5 years. Don't believe me. Go look it up. This dude is out of his mind. All right. Islam again. So now he's getting the federal government involved by sending the FBI to hunt down state officers, state elected officials, to compel them to go sit in a seat so that they'll have enough people. Not that they can sit there and not do anything, right? They just need to have a quorum. Like, okay, even if y'all decide not to cast a vote, the vote is not legit unless there's a certain amount of people in the chamber, which is why they can't cast a vote, even if they vote against it, right? But you can't even proceed until there's enough people there. I love it. It's kind of cool, right? So Trump is like, well, I don't care. I'm going to send my goons to come kidnap y'all. Kidnapping, as in collecting you against your will, and you've committed no crime. They've committed no crime. And even if they did, that's a state crime. What has Trump got to do with this? So I was talking about how right now this country is falling apart because the laws and the rules that the Moors set up, the true 5 civilized tribes, the ones that haven't been trapped on a reservation type of thing. The real 5 civilized tribes set this up for them, which is why their constitution is adopted. Why do you think it says we adopt this constitution? Not we create or procreate. No, we adopted it, which means it came from somebody else. So anyway, this used to be they used to be fairly good at being a land of laws or whatever they call this, right? Land under the rule of law. They used to be pretty good about it, right? But now it's like everything's arbitrary. Well, you can't do this because you can't do it except for every 10 years. Well, I want to do it now. So who cares what the law says? Arbitrary. All right. Well, this is a state matter where the delegates and the senators or whatever in Texas are trying to decide a Texas matter. I don't care. I'm sending federal officers after them anyway. Do you understand how this is a great way to end up in a civil war? So I was just talking about that's how everything's arbitrary. My thing is take advantage of it. Right now, nobody's really paying attention to us except to try to get our help. They're begging for our help. So while I'm standing there, you know, you think I'm looking at you and listening to you begging for my help. But really, I have on a mask. You just see this mask. I'm really turned around. It's like that tiger mask. How the people in Walking the Jungles and the tiger with tigers, you have to wear a face mask so that when you walk in, if there's a tiger behind you, they think that you're looking at them and they want to attack you. So I got on a tiger mask and I'm working my magic because you're too busy begging me to pay attention to what I'm doing under your nose. I'm not doing anything illegal, but I know how y'all are, how you like love to sabotage people just for the fun of it. So I'm glad you're not paying attention to me right now, that kind of thing. And I'm getting a lot done. It's crazy. So back to the arbitrary nature of stuff. Cool. 10 minutes in. Oh no. So that was that was the recap from last week. Real quick, weekly announcements, and this gives people a chance to get in before I get into like the real meat stuff, because you want to be here for the vine and fig tree part. All right. Especially if you're Caribbean, because I got something to say to y'all. Not Africans, not Mexicans, not Canadians. I'm talking, well, actually, if you are Caribbean Canadian, I'll get into that. But anyway, weekly announcements, Moorish film study. We have another one coming up the second Saturday in September. And it's a toss up between Black Knight and Cloud Atlas. We will be watching both. We're just trying to decide which one to watch first. My vote is for Cloud Atlas. There will be a poll somewhere, sometime, eventually. Just like I got to put the pictures up from the meetup. I still got to put them on the site. But yeah, there'll be a poll up. And we'll get to it. The other thing is the Moorish Chamber of Commerce. That's actually in the works. I actually held, like, I guess the introductory one this past Wednesday. And I was like, yeah, let me see if we could just do this every Wednesday. I got time. I actually don't have time. So instead of Wednesdays, I will be booting that up to Tuesdays. That way I have some space to prepare between, instead of Wednesday, rest, and then Wednesday present, rest, Friday present. No, I need some buffer, so it'll be moving to Tuesday. And I think the full video on what it is on YouTube and Instagram if you want to get more details. And I guess this weekend I'll be updating certifiedmoorish.org's website, Allah willing, and all this stuff that I'm talking about will be up there. All right. And the 508 course is scheduled for release this upcoming new moon, or maybe a couple of days after, because you don't do stuff on the new moon. You give it time to settle in a little bit, get comfortable, kick off his shoes. Then you start asking it for stuff. You be considerate to your guests, that kind of thing. So, yeah, that's the 23rd. I still got to pick a good date because I'm into electional and orary astrology. So, yeah, and it's working for me quite well. So that's that. All right. So continuing on from the news I left off from last week. So I talked about the arbitrary nature of the United States government, which is how you know they didn't come up with. The people running it are not the descendants of the people that came up with it. It's just like with the so-called Egyptians and them putting all those mummies on display. That's how you know those aren't the original people, because who digs up their own ancestors and puts their bodies on display for pay? I'm just saying, same thing. You have no respect for this, so I can't help but think that this is not yours. It didn't come from you. All right. So, because if it was mine, I would be very careful, because look how you have something to be proud of. So, yeah, arbitrary nature. Oh, next arbitrary nature. The news I skipped last week. So, 4 Arkansas school districts blocked from enforcing 10 Commandments law. A federal judge ruled that Arkansas's new Act 573, which mandates the display of the 10 Commandments in classrooms, is obviously, quote, obviously unconstitutional. The injunction applies only to 4 specific districts. I stress that for a reason. So these people tried to put the 10 Commandments into a public classroom, right? And some people sued them, and the federal judge said, I'm with you, because this is an overreach, but this injunction is only limited to y'all. Please remember that part. And why I keep saying arbitrary. So the injunction applies only to these 4 specific districts, not statewide. The ruling leaves other districts in constitutional limbo as the ACLU urges them to refrain from enforcement. This case serves to demonstrate the limitations of district judge, i.e. they can only rule for the plaintiff, not make a sweeping application. This judge is applying the law Whether you agree with it or not, he's applying it correctly. You said, Jones, you had a problem with Brown, Smith, and Miller. Okay, I find in your favor, Jones, against Brown, Smith, and Miller. Not Johnson, too. Even if Johnson did it, too. Johnson wasn't on the case, so I can't speak to Johnson. Only ones who can make sweeping things like that is the highest law in the land, the Supreme Court. So, this judge did it correctly. Which leads me to the next case. Nationwide injunction. Did you hear about the Supreme Court issuing an injunction? I did it. Nationwide injunction blocks Trump's birthright citizenship order. A federal judge in Maryland issued the fourth nationwide injunction against an executive order attempting to revoke birthright citizenship for children born in the U.S., unless at least one parent is a citizen or lawful permanent resident. The ruling, part of a class action suit, holds that it likely violates the Fourth Amendment. So, this judge in the case in Arkansas with the school district said again, Jones, I find in favor of you, for you in your case against Smith, Brown, and I don't know the other guy, Taylor, I don't know, whoever. Not Johnson. These people are saying Johnson too. And everybody else in the country. Even though I'm in, where did they say they were? Maryland. You're in Maryland. You're in a district in Maryland. Who are you to decide what goes on in the rest of the country? There's a court for that. That's what I mean about the arbitrary. I know they know. They have to know. If I know this, you're a federal judge. You have to know this if I know this, right? If you don't, that's really concerning. This is what I mean about the arbitrary thing and how, we need to start like making moves. I'm not saying do anything about this. Start improving yourself. Improve your own condition and see what slots you fall into.
Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that this message may be spread widely to assist in our mission to normalize Moorish.
All right, because it's about to be a whole bunch of openings. Anyway, next one. Others include State of New Jersey versus Trump. This one was filed February 13th of this year, 2025. Filed by 18 states attorneys generals, plus the cities of San Francisco and Washington, D.C., led by New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Platkin, U.S. District Judge Leo Sorkin. Okay, led by the Attorney General of New Jersey, U.S. District Judge Leo, Sorkin, blocked the executive order across the nation. You are a district judge, not a national judge. Arbitrary. It's like, who do these people think they really do have? They have kingly aspirations. They taken court, the meaning of court, into another direction. Like, I thought this was like, when I think court, like going before a judge, I think like tennis court, basketball court. I'm about to come play with you, right? I'm about to have fun. Other people see, it's a court of law, blah, 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 whatever. These people are seeing it as like a king's court. That's how they're acting. Well, I say it's across the board. If I know this, you have to know this. Really? Anyway, so he blocked the executive order across the nation, emphasizing that constitutional protections for birthright citizenship extend to the groups targeted by the order. Okay. So, wow, doesn't that violate so it says 18 states attorneys general. So aren't you violating the rights of the other attorneys generals who might agree with what Trump's doing? I'm just saying. I guess that's why you shouldn't be doing stuff like that. And the other one. So I said it was 4. So the case in Maryland, then there's one in New Jersey. Here's one in New Hampshire. The New Hampshire Indonesian Community Support versus Trump. Filed in a New Hampshire federal court by a regional immigrant support group, the ACLU, and the Asian Law Caucus. This case focused on the impact a birthright citizenship order would have on the Indonesian Christian asylum seekers. I'm going to tell you about Indonesian Christians in a minute. Give me a second. All right. This is no conjecture or presumption of prejudice. This is direct, not vicarious, direct experience with Indonesian Christians. I'm going to tell you about their persecution in a minute. Anyway, so this case was brought because I heard about this case. It said this case focused on the impact of the birthright citizenship order that a birthright citizenship order would have on Indonesian Christian asylum seekers, many of whom live in the region and have U.S.-born children. In this case, the daughter of a priest is being detained. So some Catholic priest in Indonesia, right? You know, Korea's right there. You could be a Catholic all day and all night. Thank you for whatever that was that just popped up on the screen. I don't know what that was. Thank y'all. Yeah, happy holy day to all y'all. Sorry about this, but I'll be getting into this thing. So this Indonesian Christian priest, now you know about how Christians feel about women leading stuff, right? All right. So this woman is like messing up all over the place. You're in Indonesia. Okay, nothing wrong with that. That's a Muslim country, right? And they're pretty patrilineal. So they're really into like the patriarchy. So you mean to tell me you are an Indonesian woman proselytizing the word of Christianity in this country? And then she sought asylum here, religious asylum here, right? Which is funny because the Palestinian Christians can't get asylum here. That's interesting. And then she brought her daughter over. I think she brought her daughter with her. And now they come out, or the daughter might have been born here, but I'm pretty sure she brought her with her. And so now they locked her up and I think they can't find her or something crazy like that. And that's why they brought this case, because they're saying, well, she should get to stay because I think she brought her over here so she could go to school. The daughter ain't seeking asylum. The mother was. So they picked the daughter up and they like, well, because her mother, even though her mother ain't a citizen, even because her mother got asylum, it extends to her. Where's that in the rule book? Arbitrary. All right. And let me tell you real quick about Indonesian Christian persecution. I met an Indonesian Christian here in the United States when I was in college. I think he was an exchange student, right? We got along great until it came to religion, because I was like really interested in his perspective, because the way he made it sound like, wow, you growing up in Indonesia sound just like identical to my experience growing up Muslim in the United States. Is that cause for me to seek asylum in Indonesia? I know Muslims catch hell in this country. Do I catch enough hell to say I need to move to this country because it's just too bad there? Not maybe for something else, but not for being a Muslim. And let me tell you what, so we got along great because I'm just like, wow, this is crazy seeing it from the other side. And he was saying it too, like, wow, this is crazy seeing it from the other side, right? Because now I'm in the majority and I'm talking to somebody who was the majority where I come from, but they're the minority. So I'm thinking we having a like existential exchange. And so he's like, yeah, you want to come to church with me tomorrow? Yeah, sure. Why not? I like going to church. I love the energy. Right. So we go. It's like, oh, this is cool. It's an Indonesian church. I've never been to one of these. Blah, 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 blah. I had a great time. I'm just like, yeah, this is great. Then we're doing fellowship afterwards. Like, yeah, this is my favorite part. Just hanging around, just people just talking. And his question to me, so what was it like worshiping the real God? So if I feel some kind of way about their persecution, are you really being persecuted? Or is this like some evangelicals? Like the South Africans are being persecuted, right? When you could just leave. I don't think you should have to, right? I'm not over there. I'm not sure what's happened since I met that guy many, many moons ago. But I'm just saying, when you know stuff like that, it's a little harder to have sympathy for certain situations. All right. So all this arbitrary stuff. And where am I? Keeping track. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna get into this vine and fig tree thing today. So I brought up the arbitrary part because, okay, we have this Arkansas judge that said you want an injunction. You have a case against these schools that you filed a case for because that's the limit of my power. And then these other 3 cases said, I know they have to know. The limit of my powers extend only to the people in this case, but I'm going to go ahead and extend it out nationally. I guess the only 1 out of 4 judges got the memo, because all of this happened right after the U.S. Supreme Court issued a 6-3 decision, not on the constitutionality of birthright citizenship, but specifically on the scope of nationwide injunctions issued by lower courts. Do you understand how people pushing stuff, right? The court held that federal courts generally cannot issue universal injunctions blocking a policy nationwide. They may only grant relief to the specific parties bringing the case unless class-wide or appropriately tailored relief is justified. So basically these district judges, and for whatever reason, I get it. These people suck. But you're a lieutenant trying to overrule your general. I don't think that's a good idea. If that puts it into context. And that's all I got to say about that part. So that's all the news. So I got 6 minutes. Let's see how far I can get into this. And if I don't stick my foot, open mouth, insert foot type of thing. So vine and fig tree. This is what I wanted to get to last week, right? And I might lose some friends. I might lose some people. I don't care. I'm at the age where it's just like, I enjoy my solitude. I actually insist on it, that kind of thing. So to lose people is not a loss. Anyway, so vine and fig tree, like I said at the beginning, I compare this with a bunch of, it's like the modern version of what's been going on in scripture. Jews and Gentiles, today's version, in my perspective, is Moors and Muslims, okay? You have the so-called people that, I don't want to call them chosen, but that's what the book calls. The people who have been chosen, whatever you want to call them. I'll just say Israelites, right? And then the people that supported them. Move that to today, Moors and Muslims. So I'm using that same analogy, metaphor, however you want to put it, with vine and fig tree, nationality and birthright. This came up last week. I forgot why, because it's been a week and a lot has happened. But then it's like, it kind of got refreshed in my mind. I thought I stumbled across something earlier today. So I'm just looking through the lives on TikTok because I'm not really trying to get into this thing, but I'm just like, let me see how this works. So I'm on here. I need to know how it works. And I stumbled across a live, and it was a panel of people it was an image. And the discussion was about, why don't African Americans want to embrace their African heritage? I'm sitting there like, because we ain't Africans, right? Do I look African to you? No, not at all. Maybe from North Africa, maybe, right? But other than that, no. I grew up with Africans. I hung out with them, a lot of them in college. And when we sat next to each other, nobody mistook me for African. Never, not one time. They mistook me for Jamaican all the time, which is crazy. But nobody ever mistook me for African, right? We are not the same. So, and they just sitting there like, they should be glad we claiming them. You had how long to do this? And now we should be glad because you finally doing it? These people are nuts, right? Everybody seems to it's crazy. I think because we're paying too much attention to ourselves. We're focusing way too much on ourselves, and the demons are starting to dry up. They really are, right? I hope they do and blow away. So vines and fig trees to me are like nations and flags, right? So no, we ain't no dang Africans. We've been settled that. All right, whatever. So now I'm going to focus a little closer to home, right? This is not offensive. This is just an observation on my part. And if you are easily offended, I'm warning you now, please hop off, because I make no apologies. And if you try to correct me or change my mind, I'm going to respond, and not very kindly. I'll be very nice about it. So anyway, so my thing is everyone needs to return and restore their own nation. This includes the Caribbean Moors, right? Island Moors are not continental Moors. This came up. Who was I talking to? I have so many conversations with so many Moors, but I was talking to some Moor, and they were talking about how it came up. They were talking to somebody, and they were from the islands, and they were saying it wasn't Cujo, and they were saying that we need to stop thinking that the so-called white man is our biggest problem. Yeah, we got a bad history, but it's not so bad that we need to just keep focusing and rehashing it. You're not from here either, right? Yes, you are a Moor from over there. You're not a Moor from here. And I keep telling Caribbean Moors, y'all really need to be careful. I'm coming out of this with like nothing but complete total love, and to give you a warning that if you come at it in a different way, you don't have the whole story. You really don't, right? Because the people that knew probably got killed before they could. The people who knew got killed. So the rest of us kept our mouths shut. So if you aren't one of us, you probably don't know a lot. What you don't know could fill a book. All right. So when people from here, from the continent, react a certain way when you try to critique their experience, right? I had no idea. I had no idea what it was like to cut sugarcane because that wasn't our experience. Just like I don't expect nobody from the islands to have any stories about picking cotton because that wasn't your experience. Get it? So it extends a little bit further. For instance, y'all have a flag. You have a land to claim as your own. You are, I don't know, Guadalupean Moor, right? Barbadian Moor. And then we got the mainland Moors. I look at it as that's yours, right? I'm stingy. I'm sick of sharing. We are the only people that always have to share. I'm done with it, right? So my thing is, you got your own too. I want my own. And I can't help it if my slice is that big. If Allah put my bloodline here, we earned it. We earned it. All right. Like I tell people, it's like people like, oh, you're so passionate. No, I'm angry because I know too much and I respect my elders and I pay them homage and I can feel their ire and I need to get it out, that kind of thing. And it's coming out for everybody. I got something for everybody. I really do. So my thing is I compare the island Moors, right? Let's look at Asia. Asia's a great example. We can even look at Europe, but I'm going to use Asia. So we got Chinese, we got Koreans, we got Japanese, we got Indonesians, we got Filipinos, right? Those are all Asians, right? All Mongoloid Asians. Can the Japanese come off of Japan onto China, the mainland, and make any claims just because they're Asian? No. You have yours. You have your portion. They tried it, right? It's called The Rape of Nanking. Whole book about it. Oh my God. They tried it. Japan did invade China. Didn't work out too great for them. They did invade Korea. Didn't work out too great because that's not theirs. They invaded the Philippines. They invaded Indonesia. And I actually wrote a paper on how the Japanese invasion of Indonesia is what started Al Qaeda. Long story. Yeah. Al Qaeda started before World War II started. Did you know that? Anyway, so my point is, all of these people are Asians, okay? They can all claim Mongoloid Asian. Can they come off of their islands and claim any portion of the mainland? No. So I know it's hard for people to, and then same thing for Europe. Same thing. All right. England is a island. Can they come off of England onto the mainland and claim any portion of that without having a problem? Because what? What's the problem? There's already some people claiming that portion. And you already have yours. This is mine. So what? You get yours. You get mine. What do I get? So I just wanted to make sure it was clear, right? You got yours. This is mine, right? And I'm willing to, at this point, I'm not even willing to entertain guests because everybody's been over here just exploiting us too badly. I've been told, Moors, I want what the Japanese had. I think the Moors of the continental U.S., yes, the continental U.S., because the rest of y'all are straight. Again, for whatever it's worth, you got your Caribbeans, you got your flag, you got your land, for whatever it's worth, right? You have something you can claim. Like I even heard like, okay, if somebody from the Caribbean comes here, or it's in Canada too, they have a Caribbean organization waiting for them to help them get settled. And then you separate yourselves into Caribbean enclaves. What does that that tells me you see yourselves as a separate people, not like as, okay, we just completely different. No, it's the same as like, okay, in Chicago, Chinatown, Little Korea, and what was next to that? I think Little Tibet. They're right next to each other, but they do not mix. But they're right next to each other, right? They respect each other's cultures as distinct and unique, right? I like that. I don't like that whole thing. Everybody's just one thing. I like the variety, right? So yeah, that's my point about the vine and fig tree. Oh, that's everything. I'm done. All right, Moors. Appreciate y'all, everybody. And I gotta find the sister's name who made the first purchase. I'm gonna send you something special. I got your address. So the lady who made the first purchase in my TikTok shop. Make sure you go there and get what you can while you can, because people are like actually supporting and buying stuff. So either I'm gonna run out or I'm gonna raise prices. So you better get your stuff while you can. Again. So thank you, Moors. Make your meetings. What time is it? It is 6:46. All right. So if you can make your meetings, I'll be making mine. I go to a temple that's in Phoenix. And if you want to like hop in and see what we talk about, because we have lofty conversations, there is a link available at certifiedmoorish.org, certifiedmoorish.org/temple-finder. It's right there at the top, right? And other than that, I will see y'all Tuesday to discuss, if you have any questions about business or want to discuss it, and I'm going to be like maybe teasing the course, which now I messed around. It's like, wow, I might as well just turn this into a book and a workbook to go with it. Why not? Right? And if you have questions that you want me to answer specifically, because I am not too great at paying attention to this chat, I'm doing my best, right? I am. But yeah, if you want to send me questions, you can send that to certified@califamedia.com. That's CALIFA media.com. And with that, I will check y'all out next week. Have a great weekend. And yeah, that's all I got. Peace and love. And bye-bye, y'all. Bye, y'all. Uh-oh. Let me see if I can take 2. Oh, my goodness. Okay, take 3. There we go. Okay, can I do it on here too? Peace and love, y'all. All right, cool. Bye-bye.